Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to class. Today we are being joined by the neighborhood cat. We call him Meow Meow. Say hi, Meow Meow. Okay. Anyhow, we just went over in the last set of lessons mitosis, which is cell division. Which is the division of the nucleus, right? Which needs to happen before the rest of the cell divides. During mitosis, an identical cell is being created. However, in this next thing we're going to talk about, called meiosis, the main difference is that it's not going to make an exact copy of the same cell. It is actually going to make four very unique cells that only have half the number of chromosomes. And that's because what's going to be created are your sex cells, your sperm and your egg cells if you're an animal. If you're a mammal. So here's the essential question today. Why can't your sex cells be created by mitosis? Try and think about that. Actually, take a guess right now, and we'll see how you do. Okay. Other things I want you to be able to do throughout the next set of lessons on meiosis is I want you to be able to describe the events that occur, which should be relatively easy because it's the same as mitosis, just a little different. Interphase, and then prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, and then it goes through prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2, and then cytokinesis after all that. I want you to be able to compare the processes and outcomes of mitosis and meiosis. And then I want you to be able to explain the relationships between DNA, genes, alleles, and chromosomes, and their roles in inheritance, their roles in passing down those traits from generation to generation. So let's start with the basics. We've covered this already, but I'm going to do it again. DNA and chromosomes. What is it? So we have a picture here of a long strand of DNA, and a chromosome is made out of DNA. You see this DNA is actually coiled, right? Coiled into this tube-looking thing, right? And then that tubular structure is coiled again, and that is what is packed up to make a chromosome. Right? And these are going to be these are the packaging and coiling of these chromosomes are going to be helped by histone proteins. Human cells before replication during interphase, they have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Overall, we have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. That's before DNA replication. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes in the nucleus. All right, so we have 23 of these. Okay. Here is the human. This picture here is a picture of the human set of chromosomes. All right. Here's one. It's one pair. The second pair, third pair, so on and so forth until the 23rd pair. Okay. If you count the individual ones, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 46. Right. So you're going to have 46 chromosomes in every cell except for your sex cells and your red blood cells. We'll talk about that later, but today we're focusing on your sex cells. 23 of those are from your, do you want to take a guess before I put it? Let's see if you got it right. 23 are going to be from your mom, and the other 23 are going to be from your dad, right? Your biological parents. And each pair of chromosomes has a bunch of different sets of genes. Hopefully you're familiar with what they are, right? Your genes, they are going to decide whether or not you have brown hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, or brown eyes. Your genes are also responsible for having the instructions to make all the different parts of your body, right? The structure of your jaw line and your nose, right? Whether or not you have a widow's peak, right? Go ahead and lift up your hair. If you have a point in your hair, that's called a widow's peak. It's actually a recessive gene. Um, so another fun fact about genes. What are your genes? So they are segments of DNA that code for a particular protein or trait, right? Remember, these are the instructions not only for your traits, what you look like, but also to make all of the different proteins that you need in your body. Enzymes, structural proteins for your muscles, to build muscle cells. And these are all located in chromosomes, all of these genes. Humans have 46 chromosomes, 23 from each parent. And so when you take a pair, let's imagine one of those pairs of chromosomes. In that pair, one of those is from your mom and one of those is from your dad. So that pair would be called a homologous pair because those chromosomes are they have the same types of genes. They have the same types of instructions. For example, let's pretend that this chromosome on the left is from your mom. This chromosome on the right is from your dad. These both have instructions for your eye color. Okay. Maybe the one on the left, the instructions are to make a brown eye color. And maybe the one on the right, there are instructions to make a blue eye color. Well, later we're going to learn about dominant and recessive traits and what that means. However, brown eyes are a dominant trait and blue eyes are a recessive trait. So that means that in this example, this chromosome here on the left, the one from your mom, would dominate the one on the right. It would express itself. The one on the right wouldn't express itself at all. Right. So one comes from the mom and one from dad. So here are all of our chromosomes. Each pair, one is from mom, one is from dad. Mom, from dad, from mom, from dad, from mom, from dad, so on and so forth. All the way down until our 23rd pair, which is the XY pair, right? If you have two X chromosomes, then you are female. If you have an X and a Y chromosome, then you are male. And we're going to call this entire set of chromosomes a karyotype, right? So this is the human karyotype. The carrot karyotype has 8 chromosomes, or 8 pairs, or 8 chromosomes, 4 pairs. I forget. Now we're going to roll into the meat of this Edpuzzle is meiosis. So meiosis is the formation of sex cells, your sperm and your egg cells. So I said I would explain where the original cell comes from when making your sex cells. So there is in your DNA some instructions to make something called germ cells. When you are actually when you're just a fetus, you're not even born yet. When you're a fetus, there's instructions in your DNA to make these germ cells. These germ cells um, eventually make their way into your sex organs, your reproduction organs, where they then will both use mitosis and meiosis. They will use mitosis to make more germ cells, and they'll use mitosis to make sperm and egg cells. they have to use mitosis as well, because if they only did meiosis, then eventually you would run out of sex cells and you wouldn't be able to have children, right? So in order to be able to have children throughout most of your life, they have to perform mitosis as well. So that's going to be your non-sex cell or your germ cell, and you're going to end up making 4 sex cells by the end of it. One of the main differences between mitosis and meiosis is that for meiosis, you have to go through 2 rounds of cell division, right? So that by the end, instead of having 2 new cells, you have 4, like in this picture here. And I'll just show the process on a more basic level here. So the DNA is going to duplicate itself during interphase, just like with mitosis. And you'll notice here that at this point, what we would do with mitosis is we would split these chromosomes in half. One new cell would get a blue, and the other new cell would get a blue, and then the other one would also get a purple, and the other one would also get a purple, so that they both have identical new cells. But in meiosis, we're going to separate the different chromosomes. Now, a big difference already during this process is that these 2 new cells from the first round of division aren't the same. And then it's going to do it again, because not only does it have to be unique, but you also have the end products, the 4 new cells, also have to have half the number of chromosomes. So it's going to split again. So now, instead of having a full pair, it only has 1 chromosome in each one. But it gets even more complicated than that. What really happens is during the first phase, when it duplicates the DNA, it actually, you'll notice that this purple chromosome has part of the blue end here, and this blue chromosome has part of the purple end. We call this crossing over. These 2 chromosomes, they just kind of did a little high five, and they traded some genes so that they create very unique and new chromosomes, right? So when they duplicate, now not only are they going to have, whereas before in the other picture, these have the same DNA makeup. The ones that result from this, because of crossing over, they're going to end up resulting in more unique more unique combinations of DNA, right? And you can have much more crossing over and uniqueness when you're doing it with all 46 pairs, 23 pairs of chromosomes. 3 most important things to remember about meiosis. 1, the number of chromosomes is cut in half. 2, sex cells are produced. And 3, whether or not you get DNA from your grandmom or grandfather is random, right? And then the 4th thing, usually sex cells get a combination from both. All right, so I'm hoping that the stages of meiosis is actually going to be relatively easy for you guys, because it's the exact same thing as mitosis, just twice. Okay, for like up in here in the picture, it says there's prophase 1, and then metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and telophase 1, and then prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase 2. All right, so DNA replication is going to occur during interphase, just like with mitosis. And we're going to double the amount of chromosomes that we have from 46 to 92. This is because we need to then soon divide this by 4 to give us 23 chromosomes in all of the new gametes by the end of it. Right? Your homologous pairs, the pairs of chromosomes that have the exact same instructions for whatever trait, are going to line up during prophase one, forming something that we call a tetrad. Don't worry about that vocab word. For example, imagine that this chromosome came from your dad and this chromosome came from your mom, and they both duplicated. So these matching homologous pairs are going to cross over. See here how they kind of just like do a little high five. And now the after effect, though, is that some of the genes from the green chromosome are on the blue chromosome, and some of the genes from the blue chromosome are on the green chromosome. And we call this crossing over, and this happens during prophase one. This is going to lead to increased genetic variation. And this is also the reason why, if you have a brother or sister, you look very different from them. You might have some similar traits, but you're not the exact same because all of all of the sex cells that your mom and dad produce are all very unique. After going through prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase one, or they split just in the same way as mitosis, they're going to go through a round of those stages again. They're not going to do DNA replication a second time, though. They're going to skip interphase. So it goes interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then again prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. And the chromosome number reduces from 92 back down to 46 because remember that because they all divided once. And so 92 divided by 2 is 46. The sister chromatids end up lining up during metaphase one, and I'm going to sum all this up into saying one thing. They basically go through another round of division, shown here, where they split the unique chromosomes that were created into 4 new daughter cells. And once they have split into 4 new daughter cells, now they are called gametes. And then when, 2 gametes join together, like sperm and an egg cell, they fertilize and produce a zygote. So back to the essential question. Let's see if anyone picked up on this. Why can't your sex cells be created by mitosis?